Greetings. Yeah, so today I'm just going to be going over how the winger, for most cases, should defend, especially when they push up. We'll do it when they push up with the centre back and then without the centre back, so just the standard play. So let me just kind of draw the field quickly. Yeah, it's really bad. I might, yeah. Okay. So for your general style of play, let's say you were attacking, maybe you just pushed up, so the left winger, left fullback, centre backs, and then the other winger, that's your striker, then your three midfielders. I'm gonna put it like that, so it's a bit easier. So this is the 6, the 10, and the 8, the 7, 11. Your fullbacks, I'm gonna do 2 and 5, and then 3 and 4. Then your number 9. So this is the full map. We just attacked, and now we have to defend. So this is our color, and then I'm gonna get ready for the opponents. So then it might be clumped up, disorganized, but I'm gonna do a fairly clean order, bold. I don't know if it is visible. There's our marketing. So there's the 3 attackers, or there's the striker. The 2 wingers. So I'll do 11 and then 7. So it's easier to see. And then I'm going to do the 2 centre backs. I'm not going to do too focused on the other side, just to make it simple. I'll actually mark this in so it's a bit easier to see. Okay. And then the fullback. So most of the time, especially when they will counter, obviously in this case we're assuming either it's a goal kick and they're going to take it a bit quickly, or they just want it maybe by their centre back or through the keeper quick catching it. So then he's going to distribute it to either side for the centre back. So in most cases with that centre back. Now what happens is, as soon as they attacks, it's similar to your standard attacking on the flanks. Their winger will push up. Obviously there's spaces in the sides, and usually you want to go to the side and then you're going to cross it in. So the winger is going to want to run, similar to that's it, standard play. Winger makes a run. What will happen is the fullback has to follow. Obviously if he doesn't, the keeper can just give a long ball through the center and it's game over. So when that happens, obviously it's not instant, but I'm going to just so you can see it visually. There's their winger, then he has our fullback. So now obviously he has to follow. If he doesn't, there's a pocket of space. The centre backs are obviously holding their lines. What will happen is there's a nice space. Usually a midfielder won't always come out, because generally it doesn't. Also, you don't want your midfielders wouldn't want to run sideways, backwards and forwards. And like I said, this is a perfect scenario where everyone is man marking, but usually is a bit scattered. So even sometimes our players will be looser just because we attacked, so now they have to go around the side. Unless it's like a long ball through the middle, and our fullbacks, our midfielders have just scattered somewhere. But in general play, their wingers will obviously push up, and then their fullback will push up. Now, the importance of, obviously, as a winger, how to defend is on just generally tracking your man. You have to drop back. Oops, I'll make it because what happens if you don't track back, I'm just going to keep it like that. Just say he pushes up. What will happen is they will do a long ball through the center like that. There's no one going to be cutting it out. Even if there's someone there, it can go over the top. It's not that hard. Then what you'll have, so then he would press up with the ball. So we're going to say, okay, he receives the ball here. This is their fullback. their number 2. Then you can see what will happen is now there's an overlap. There's 2v1 here in the square. There's a 2v1 situation, never good. He can do a 1-2, so he passes there, he makes the run, and then they just do a through ball. For certain cases, you can say, okay, why doesn't the centre back come help? No, I mean, if he's a defender, he should help defend. Perfectly valid. First of all, you can still have a 1-2, but just say, Yaze, I want to make blue the ball. What will now happen is, if he comes in, the space opens up here. So I'm going to wipe him out. Here's your centre back, here's your full back, and there's a space. And then a through ball through the centre. Obviously, there's their goals, where they want to shoot. There's a nice space through the centre. You can say, okay, well, maybe he comes across. That's fair. You can say that. But then the forward just runs straight through the centre. If a midfielder steps out and tries to cover, then once again straight through the centre. Effectively, when the centre back steps out, the chances of the winger giving a through ball into the box is extremely high and most likely will result in a goal. So it's very important that the winger, in all cases, there's your fullback, centre back, fullback. There's their centre backs, their fullback, and their winger. It's very important that even if, for example, just say you're attacking, but somehow, or maybe you're attacking on the right hand side, then their fullback will still up here in the defensive position, and maybe as a winger is waiting there. You don't walk around in midfield, or maybe the ball is here in the moment. Especially on the other side, you are still keeping yourself prepared for what might happen. There's many things that can vary. For example, if they do attack through the left-hand side, or the right-hand side for you as a winger, because if this is you, what will happen is you will need to start cutting in a bit. So should something happen and someone have to step up, you can effectively step into the midfield a bit and cover the number 8. 8 will go for the 6. 6 will now cover for the 5, just so he gets beaten. So effectively everyone shifts across one. It's very important to do it like that. Should the ball be here and the opponents have it, I'm going to do blue, what will happen is you don't want to cut in too early. You want to start drifting in. When the attack starts moving down here, then you can say, okay, well, most likely they're not going to get the ball in this area, so you don't have to be anymore. You want to start becoming more of a defensive player and start squishing the play into the corner. Effectively, you're going to start choking. You're going to start choking the play out. If the ball is over here, and now they want to recycle, when they start coming back, maybe to centre-back, keeper, centre-back, their winger is going to start, or fullback is going to start getting into an attacking position. Now, maybe for some instance, you did drift in the midfield as a winger. Okay, yeah, there's 11 on that side already. Let's do 7. What will happen is they will go around, and then they'll just go around you. So effectively, fullback will run down. You have a winger, fullback, 2v1 situation again. To prevent that, as the winger, you now have to start marking there. You don't have to stand on him. You can be close enough where if the ball does come down, you can rush it out. So if they do recycle the ball, pass like that, you are now able to intercept or get in front. But if the gap is very big, be very cautious, because obviously he can just do a long ball over you. So if you're rushing out, it can be dangerous. So you can maybe stand on him, like in this case, and then even if there's a space, you can just follow him behind. Should, for whatever reason, the centre-back has the ball now. There we go. So they recycled. And you are, I'm going to make it a bit in the more open so it's easy to see. So this is you as a winger, and this is the opponent player. As any centre-back, you could either whether you can see it or you can ask any centre back if their fullback is currently being marked. You'll never play the pass there. So once the centre back sees you marking, or as a winger marking their fullback wanting to make an attacking run, they will never pass. Therefore, you have successfully defended this entire side of the field just by standing on him. You don't have to do any tackles or anything. You just stand there. He sees you. He'll want to go back, and you have successfully defended. It is very much that easy. If you want to, I want to keep it divided just so you can see it. There's your fullback, you as a winger, their fullback, their winger. The game, if you want to look at it, and I'll actually clean it up so you can see it nicely on both sides. If I can find my eraser here. So I will divide it so it looks nicely. And this is your other fullback, your winger, their winger, and their fullback. So realistically, no matter how you want to kind of see the game or how the game is looking, obviously there's overlaps, there's filling the one side with more players, but generally on a football field, as a winger and fullback, this is what your game looks like. Your game almost never is including the centre. If you are finding yourself in the centre as either a fullback or a winger, something is usually going wrong. The only time you might see it is when you're going to cut in. But obviously we're not talking about the attacking part or defence. So this is your box. Should you fail to cut out any passes or miss tackle or not mark your fullback, what will happen is effectively you can see it like this. You're out of the game and there's a 2v1 situation. So it's 2v2 the entire game. Never really 3v2, never really 1v1 kind of things. It's always more or less 2v2. As a winger, as a fullback, this is your game. You don't really have other things to focus on. You don't need to care what the midfield is doing. You're literally moving up the flank and crossing it in for either player. Even if it's an overlap, your fullback will be doing the same thing as the winger in that situation. As a 2v2. So, at all times, make it a 2v2. Never let it become you can try and fight it so you have the advantage in the 2v1 situation. But this is a fullback and a winger's game. It's never really different. You must always stick to the shape and style. And even if, for the last thing, their fullback does push up all the way, and maybe he wants to make an overlapping run, you don't, for example, I've seen this many times from just anyone that maybe lacks a bit of that experience as that winger play. When the winger gets to this point, so this is their winger, this is your fullback, then their fullback obviously is pushing up now. You're following like that as a winger, so now it's like that. What I do notice is when it becomes, obviously it's very close quarters, just say they have the ball over there, you'll see as the winger, just say, maybe I'll move you back so you can see it. What will happen is you'll see this is your line of sight. You'll see, okay, my defender's there, he's marking him, and he's also marking him, close enough. But obviously it's a 2v1, so he just has to do a through ball, and then the overlap happens. What also happens is, when you stop, obviously now it becomes a 2v1, and that's you already lost. So what needs to happen is, even if their fullback is overlapping, don't say, okay, now the defender, no, it's further behind, so he has your goals. Now it's his job to mark him. Nope, it's still yours. You, obviously big goal side, so I'll do it like this. You will follow the fullback. If the fullback goes there, you go. If the fullback goes there, you go. If it goes there, you go. If it goes there, you go. That is a winger's job if you want to look at it. On the defense, it's a 2v2 situation always. You will mark the opponent's fullback, and your fullback will mark the opponent's winger. If there's an overlap and the fullback runs past the winger, you follow. You don't wait and let your defender try and defend. You just mark him. Because, as I said, most of the time, this is out of play. Midfielders don't tend to step out really. Maybe they'll do. But if they do that, what tends to happen is the ball gets recycled. It doesn't usually go back. And if it does, it's because the fullback just continued making his run. He played it in, and then they did a through ball. But if you follow your fullback again, it will never happen, and you'll cut out all through balls. So think of it as a winger. These are your areas. Or in this case, if you're left or the left wing or left fullback, you're only looking into this section. You don't look elsewhere. You don't need to worry about anything else. You just follow your man. If the play moves in, you move in a bit. When it comes around, you move out again and mark your fullback. If it's attack and there's attack on your side happening, you guys have possession and your right wing is attacking, you're just going to tuck in and be there in the cross. That's really the difference. But the wingers general plays up and down and then tucking in and out for the attacks and following your fullback. That's realistically what a winger does for most common formations.